Before Friday's playoff game with Chatham and Appomattox, Joe Caruso, head coach of the Appomattox Raiders, joined me on the Sports Buffet podcast. We looked ahead to the Dogwood District regular season playoff with Coach Caruso. The Raiders ended up winning 4-1 over Chatham, and they get the Dogwood District bye. But here is the man to tell you all about the Appomattox Raiders, Joe Caruso, on the Sports Buffet podcast. Always fun for me to catch up with the head coach of the Appomattox Raiders, Joe Caruso. He joins me on the Sports Buffet podcast. Raiders and Chatham Cavaliers in a playoff for the Dogwood District on Friday at William Campbell. And Coach, let's talk about how you got there. A big win against William Campbell. When you don't get that one, you're not playing in a playoff on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Talk about how that game went.
The game was scoreless early on. We got a big hit from a newcomer, Grant Paulette, hit a 2-run homer to give us a little breathing room. And then after that, we had a big inning, tacked on a couple more runs, put 3 more runs on the board, and Dylan Caruso on the mound. Dylan was in control. So worked out the way you kind of draw that, Bob.
What do you like about your team right now?
I really like our pitching staff with Jake Perkins and Dylan Caruso for the last month. It seems like they've been really challenging each other and pushing each other. One goes out and throws a 2-hitter, and then a 1-hitter, and Perkins had a no-hitter on Monday, and Dylan comes back with a 2-hitter. They've really pitched really well.
I think a lot of people, feel like they might have that one ace or that one stud that they can throw, but I think you're in a luxury situation to where you really have 2 guys that you're pretty comfortable with throwing. Has a coach talk about how that doesn't either lose you any more hair or give you another gray hair?
Well, it's a great situation because when you get into your district schedule, you're playing 2 games a week. So it's, I don't have to save one guy for this one or one guy for that one. I've got 2 guys, and one of them each get the ball once a week and let them go. It's a great luxury to have.
Tell me how. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all I was going to say. It was a great luxury to have.
Tell me how Dylan and Jake differ and how they're alike.
How they're like, they're both power arms. I mean, they're both upper 80s with the fastball. Jake probably comes at you a little with harder stuff. I don't want to say that because they both go really hard, but Jake is consistently, all his pitches seem to have some depth and are boring pitches. His fastball runs in really well. He's got a cut fastball that he uses and a hard breaking ball. Dylan is the same type of fastball that can run in on you, but his curveball's a little bit bigger, a little slower, and his changeup, he's going to change speeds a little more, where Jake can just come in and just run the ball, cut it in, cut it out. So pretty similar, but different, a little different style on how they do it.
I think all coaches would say, either I treat every player differently because you can't treat 2 guys the same, or I treat all my players the same. How important is it that, obviously Dylan and you are kinfolk here with him being your son. Talk about how important it is for the team to see you treat Dylan like he's just another guy on the team, no matter the fact that he sleeps in my house every night.
Well, I think it's known. They know he's probably got it harder than anybody else because everyone else doesn't have to listen to me once they get off the field, and he does. To his credit, he's handled it extremely well. You don't have to lie to him about. He's a hard-working kid who loves to play, loves to practice. So you don't ever have to lie to him about that. So he's gotten to the point, and with this group I have, all my teams really gotten to the point. I can just turn them loose, and they know what they need to get done, so I don't have to worry about them. I've had this group for a long time, so they're used to me, they're used to him, and they're used to us together.
Do you like coaching your kid, or would you rather somebody else do it?
I've done it both ways, and he's had it both ways, and I've loved it. It's just been a great experience. There's kind of nothing like, the feeling after a great performance or something, you being able to share that with your son, and him knowing that you were there right with him the whole way. It's been fantastic.
And I take it had to be a double pleasure the day he signs that letter of intent a few weeks or a month ago with Longwood.
Yeah, it was. Well, that part was
How important?
It turned out for the best.
How important do you feel your role is of not only having whatever version of the Raiders you have that season to win, but also preparing, whether it be Dylan Caruso, Jake Perkins, anybody else on the team, going to play at the next level, whether it be Division 3, 2, 1, whatever, in terms of your importance of getting them ready for college baseball to where they get there and don't say, like, oh my gosh, Coach Caruso didn't tell me it was going to be like this, or, having them not feel prepared.
Well, that's our job. And you listen to any of the coaches until you get to the major leagues. Your job is to prepare your guys for the next level. Coach O'Connor up at Virginia speaks a lot of it. His job is to get his guys ready to play at the next level. That's what he wants. He wants to accomplish, and that's the same thing we want to accomplish as coaches. Whether it's a Timmy Dudley, a Marshall Woods, this year Dylan Caruso and Jake Perkins. That's what you want. That's what you probably get as a coach. Probably the greatest satisfaction out of.
I'm sure you've kind of looked at down the line with the way the region does the tournament now. You get 8 teams into Division 2, Region B. How big is the game against Chatham in terms of seeding?
Not great. I don't think it's a make or break, but it definitely helps. I think no matter which one of us wins it, it'll either put you, as probably a 3 seed, because I don't know if there's any way to catch the 2 in front of us. And I don't think losing it will drop you lower than a 5 or 6. So, but what it is good is it gives you the first round bye in the district tournament, gives you a better chance to set up your pitching. With us, with Dylan and Jake, that doesn't come into play as much, but it's nice to be able to set it ahead of time and have them know. So it's what the kids play for, though. They're the district championship, so it's important in that respect.
How important is the momentum in baseball as you hit down the stretch? Because if we look at like a sport like basketball, Coach Cottrell can call a timeout if things are going bad. In baseball, you can only walk to the mound so many times before you've got to make a switch. But how important is it? You talk about the bye. I mean, would you almost rather just keep playing just because, hey, we're playing good? I just want to keep going game by game by game.
No, but at this point, you're battling some little nagging injuries and things like that. So it's good to have a day off. A couple light practices. Guys I don't think they need to be out there every day playing a game right now. So I think for us, your momentum, it's the old saying, your momentum in baseball is only as good as your next day starting pitcher.
Dylan Caruso and Jake Perkins are not the only 2 people on the Appomattox team. Talk about some other guys that, if you guys are playing well, they need to be key.
Well, the first guy, if you go to the lineup, would be Dallas Turner, our third baseman. He's had a fantastic year at the plate. Really strong, powerful. Just he's been our best hitter all year. Hits the long ball, slugs, runs really well. He's done a great job. A couple of newcomers in our outfield. Trey Hamlet, who's a sophomore. That's down at the bottom of our lineup, and Chandler Harvey, who's a freshman. They've also played really well. Gotten on base a lot for us for the top of the lineup. Have another freshman I've just brought up, Brad Paulette, who's DH'd for us. Hit a big home run yesterday. He's really swinging that well for us. So definitely, it's not a team. There's a whole lot of guys contributing and pitching in for us.
Tell me about Chatham. What impresses you about Chad Anderson's squad?
They're always ready. You never sneak anything up on them. That's for sure. And they're going to come at you with Bradley Haynes, who's as good a pitcher as you're going to see in Single A and in the state of Virginia.
With Chatham, I mean, they've been on the top of the district for so many years now, and I know you had that spell when you're in the Seminole, but obviously you can read and, you can hear and you know what good stuff they're doing. How important is it for you to preach to your guys of, hey, they've been the top dog, we need to knock them off, they're the hunted, or we're hunting them, so to speak, or do you want your guys to feel like, hey, we're the team that's being hunted because I guess you kind of get what I'm saying. Do you want to be the hunter or the hunted in terms of preaching?
Well, in terms of preaching, well, you want to play every game hard. I feel like, they know us, and we know each other well enough. Gosh, in the last 2 years, we played them 5 times. I think all the games have been decided by a total of probably 6 runs. So, we're homing each other. We know the guys know each other. They know what's going on. We know who we have to be. They know they have to beat us, and you know that going into the beginning of the year, really.
Basketball and football, I would say, are more, when we talk about home court or home field advantage, I think the crowd comes into play a little bit more. Baseball, I think the park actually comes into play a little bit more. This game is being played at William Campbell. Do you think one team has an advantage over another with the way Campbell's Park is shaped?
No, not really, because both teams are pretty similar. You're going to see a really good starting pitcher. So, it's not a big park, but also in both lineups, there's a few guys in each lineup who can hit the ball out of the park. So that's not going to really play a big factor in any of it. The field plays really well. It's pretty smooth. There's no bad bounces or anything like that. They do a good job of keeping it up. So I don't think it plays into anyone's advantage, really.
I've talked with some other coaches, but I haven't talked to you in a while. What are your thoughts on the new bats that you guys are having to use?
The new bat standards? Well, I'm a pitcher. I grew up as a pitcher. I'm a pitching coach. I like a 2-to-1 game. We've seen that a lot more this year.
Right.
The reduction in home runs has been a little bit, but it hasn't been as much as I thought. But now the hits, you haven't seen nearly as many, because you really have to hit a ball on the sweet spot of the barrel now to get a hit. So I think it's really, it's taken away those little bloop shots off the handle and things like that. So I think with our pitching staff, it's actually helped us quite a bit.
Do you think in terms of the hitters, not maybe just yours, but in terms of all the hitters that you've seen when you've been coaching this year, do you think that sometimes the bats can be in their heads if they were getting, these hits that are off the knob or, just missing it but still getting a base hit, but now those balls are not hits? Do you think it affects with the kids because the teenage mind is not exactly the strongest part in the world at all points in time?
Well, I think maybe early in the season it was a little bit like that. Maybe they got in their heads a little bit. The fly balls, the ones that you hit, up in the air, don't carry nearly as far. So I think it's put a premium on hitting the ball on the line. I think those balls still carry really well off these new bats. So yeah, it might have messed with them a little bit. I think now you're at the point of the season where a lot of the kids now play travel ball and things like that. Use wooden bats a lot, so I don't think it's playing an effect now. I think they've gotten used to them by this point, and it is what it is right now.
Final thing for you, Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Look forward to doing this again very soon. There's got to be a loser in this game. Somebody is going to lose, and somebody is going to have to play in that Dogwood District tournament. With that being said, how important, well, both teams are going to have to play in the Dogwood District, but one team gets to bye, one doesn't. How important is it to kind of get back on the horse quickly and, have kind of like when a closer blows a game? How important is it for the team that loses to have a short memory?
Oh, it's extremely important. I think the team that either wins or loses, at all points, you have to have a short memory. If you win this game, you can't sit back and think, okay, you've really done something, because I think both teams here have, higher goals than just the district. I think the good thing about this game is you're playing another game against a really good team going into postseason that's going to really prepare you for what you're going to see. Dogwood District's really tough, especially when you're facing a team like Chatham. So, when we get outside and face teams from the Bull Run, the Shenandoah, and places like that, we're going to be ready for what they have because we've already seen it.
Coach, as always, appreciate the time. Love talking to you, and we'll do it again very soon, and best of luck against the Cavs.
I definitely appreciate it.